Good morning and welcome back to Mobility Matters. I'm your host, Javier Betancourt, Executive Director of the Citizens Independent Transportation Trust, or CITT for short. We're the quasi-independent agency of Miami-Dade County charged with overseeing your half-penny sales tax for transportation. So transportation, of course, is an issue that affects everyone and everything. All other issues interact and intersect with transportation and mobility. But one topic I don't think we've ever had on this program is how mobility and transportation affects a major event and how major events are impacted by transportation and mobility. So I'm really happy and excited today to discuss that topic with a wonderful guest. Her name is Lissette Mendez, and she is the Executive Director of the Miami International Book Fair, one of the beloved longtime historical events in our community. So Lissette, welcome to the program.
Oh my God. Thank you so much for having me, Javier. I'm really excited to be here to talk about this. I'm passionate about transportation as well. So I think we're going to have a lot to talk about.
Yeah, usually when people say they're passionate about transportation, it's not a positive. You know, it's I'm passionately stuck in traffic. But,
no.
But we have a lot of great things to talk about as well, particularly when it comes to the book fair and where you're located downtown, because there's so many options to get there. So before we get to that, though, let's learn a little bit about you, if you don't mind.
Of course.
Tell us about what you do at the book fair and how you kind of ended up in that career path.
Yeah, absolutely. I have a dream job. I don't know how many people get to say that on a daily basis, right? I was a reader from birth almost. And even though to me, the Miami Book Fair, as I was growing up, I grew up here in Miami Beach. I went to elementary school and all of the other schools in Miami Beach and in Miami. And so going to book fair as a young teenager was like other kids wait for Christmas or Hanukkah. I waited for book fair every year. So I was really, it was one of those jobs that you go into and you pinch yourself. So that happened about 20 years ago. I had been, I had been at Miami-Dade College a few years prior to that, working in their marketing and publications department. And I loved it. I love Miami-Dade College. I love, I love everything it's done for our community, with our community, for our community. So getting to work at Miami-Dade College was really, was a real happy time for me. And then being there and then coming over to the book fair side 20 years ago was, as I said, a dream come true. It was my career as a writer, both in, the creative writing and newspapers, magazines, and then eventually marketing that led me to book fair. It's funny that we're talking about transportation in terms of the book fair, because something that always surprises people is that I did not learn how to drive a car until I was 38 years old.
Wow.
And prior to that,
practically a New Yorker.
Practically, but really a Miami Beachian. I don't know if that's a word, but it is now, because one of the great things about growing up in Miami Beach and my own personal journey is that I didn't need to really drive a car.
Right.
Because the bus system, in the Miami Beach area and going in and out of the Miami Beach area has always been wonderful.
It's also a walkable community, right?
Very, very walkable. And I, going to school downtown when I was at Miami-Dade College myself, or going to school at FIU, which is where I went for my undergraduates and also my master's degree, it was very reachable by bus. It helped that I like to read, because yes, we all know that public transportation sometimes can take a little bit longer, depending on where you're going or whatnot, than driving your own car. Again, depending on where you're going. So, it kind of feels very natural to be having this conversation with you about the Miami Book Fair, which takes place in downtown Miami, which I think Miami-Dade College, where it was founded, in 1984, there was a real... there was a lot of foresight in creating a festival of this kind in the downtown area, which, all of us, longtime Miami residents, remember as being an area that maybe was a little bit economically depressed. Maybe folks didn't really want to be there or go there to do their entertainment activities, and that really started changing in the 80s when I was a student and in high school, and it was so accessible by transportation even then, right? And I think that was kind of the vision of the college at the time and the folks that really, came together to found the book fair, that downtown was this really underutilized area that could really serve as a meeting point for all of the people in Miami-Dade County and even outside Miami-Dade County to come and enjoy, things like the Miami Book Fair. And of course, we know that since 1984, there's been, so many other great events that have been started or that take place, or, the Arch Center, for example, that is also in downtown Miami. And well, now we know all of the real estate and everything that comes along with it, restaurants, nightclubs, etc. So, and one of the reasons that I believe that it was founded there was because of the ease of traveling into the downtown Miami. I think a lot of people have a misconception about traveling into downtown Miami, right? We live out in these different neighborhoods where we know getting in our car and thinking of going from South Dade, let's say, all the way to downtown, we're like, oh my God, that's going to take forever. But really, it's so easy, right?
It's the most accessible place in the state of Florida. No one else is connected by transit nearly as much as downtown Miami.
I love to know. I love that you're telling me that. I didn't know that. I do know it is very easy to get to from places around Miami-Dade County. Yeah.
So I agree with you. You have a dream job. So you let me know when you're ready to retire, because I might put in for it.
I got a while.
And by the way, kudos to Miami-Dade College and everything they do. I just had the president on in the previous segment. And of course, she was president of the Wolfson campus and loves the book fair. And I'm sure worked closely with you.
Oh, yeah. She's wonderful.
So let's talk about the book fair. So you touched on a couple of points, but tell us about its history. I know, Mitch was a key part of founding it, but, he didn't do it alone. There are a lot of partners. So tell us about that history and where it is today.
Yeah. So it was founded at Miami-Dade College. At the time, Dr. Eduardo Padron, who is our former college president, was the president at the Wolfson campus. Mitchell Kaplan had just opened his Books and Books for bookstore in the Gables. Yeah. And
iconic bookstore. No one's ever been. You're missing out. You have to go.
Yeah, it's a wonderful bookstore. And I grew up close to the one in Miami Beach. So that was my my bookstore growing up, and until the pandemic really forced a lot of closures in the area. But they had this idea with other community members. There was the Miami-Dade County Public Library and Margarita Cano, who sadly passed away last year. Juanita Johnson, also an incredible woman who was a librarian at the Miami-Dade County Public Library. A number of folks at the college who have now retired. New folks that have come in over the years, as you mentioned, President Pumariega, who has been very, very, very closely connected to the book fair and is a big champion for books and reading and all of the things that the Miami Book Fair stands for and all of its alignment to the college's own vision for our community. So they came together. They really wanted something that gave back to to all of Miami, but also created created an experience for the students, right? Miami-Dade College has, 150,000 students from year to year at all of its campuses. And making sure that books and, when I say books, you made a little bit of a joke before we got on, which is like a lot of it is going digital. Yeah, but still has music, and we're still paying $1,500 a pop for Taylor Swift concerts, right?
By the way, I still prefer a hard copy book. I mean, I'm old-fashioned that way.
I am a reader of anything. Is it a phone? Is it an iPad? Is it a Kindle? Is it a XYZ device? Is it the paper? I listen to a lot of books. Also, while taking, whether it's public or private transport. So reading for me is not attached to its conveyance, its form of conveyance. But that's a completely different conversation. So they when they all came together, they really wanted to create a community event that would make everyone feel welcome, that would, remind everyone of the power that exists in the telling of stories. And I say that, and I sometimes don't use the workbook itself, because I feel that, story is what underlies all of the cultural arts, all of what makes us humans, right? Like, how do we even know who we are, why we're here, what we mean to each other as people in the same room, as people around the world, is the ability to tell stories about ourselves and about each other and interpret those stories, So that's still at the heart of what Book Fair is about. But because, we are also very, very focused, as is the college, in bringing as many people together to especially in times where, there's a little bit of friction, there's a lot of anxiety in our community, whether it's because of elections or financial or this or that or the other, we would like to continue being an oasis, right? Yes. Where you can come in, it's almost free, right? So our main weekend, which is on the weekend of the 23rd and the 24th of November, entrance to the fair is $12 for adults, free for children.
Where can you get into anything else for that?
That's what I say.
Not even a movie. Right?
No, not even a movie. And then once you're in there, what do you have? You have, venue after venue inside of the Miami-Dade College, Wilson campus grounds, whether they're the small, 100-foot, 100-seat rooms or 700, seat auditoria or whatever it is, we have authors talking, conversations. One of the things I love the most and that I didn't realize I would miss, but I did miss during the pandemic, is the people who ask the questions, because one of the things we've made very, very easy and that we've welcomed always is the questions behind the microphone to, where everyone in the room can join that line and ask their question of whoever's on that stage. Sometimes it's been, politicians. Sometimes it's been, world famous thinkers. Malcolm. I'm an old punk rocker, so I want to say Malcolm McLaren, but it's not.
I know who you're talking to, and I can't come up with his name either. He's like Madonna. Malcolm, is all he needs.
Just
Malcolm. It's all good. Just Malcolm.
He's got a new book, based on his original book, The Tipping Point. It's a new one. It's just come out actually this week or in the past couple of weeks. And so, he's someone that is very respected internationally as a thinker. Well, at Miami Book Fair, anyone in the audience can stand up and ask him a question. So to us, that's very
democratic. I mean,
it is, and that's that's the college. I mean, I think people probably have heard by now that we call Miami-Dade College is referred to as Democracy's College, and so we've always taken our Miami Book Fair has always taken our kind of philosophy from the college's philosophy of being an open space,
being an open book.
Being an open book, being
couldn't help
an
myself.
Open book.
I apologize.
Yeah,
you could use that.
No, I love it. I love it. We are, and some other things that we've added over the years of, it started as a 2-day festival. We're up to 8 days. We've been 8 days for as long as I've been here. Since 2004, and we open on a Sunday. This year's opening is on November 17th. We have a big opening day block party, with DJs. We had a really wonderful DJ last year, Louis Vega. This year we have 3 DJs coming in from New York City who have close ties to Miami music and dance community, because I'm a big dancer, but also I want the feeling of being part of a book community to feel very, very joyous and to be a time for celebration, right? Even if you're not really reading that much, I'm okay with that. I want people to come out and be together. And then they'll pick up the book. I call it the book because it's really that big. It's got
the book of books.
The book of books, the book of authors, the schedule for everything that we're doing. And then there'll be, some of them won't be surprised because they've been in Miami so long and they understand and they come back every year. But we have a lot of new residents, right? Speaking of transportation, we have a lot of new people from all over the country who I think will be very happy and gratified to know that they can come to an event like ours.
There's something there for everyone. There truly is.
Absolutely. We have the Children's Alley area on the weekend.
Love that. My kids love that.
Do they? Yeah. I love meeting folks that are like in the generation after mine, like my own children, or, some that are a little bit older who've grown up going to the book fair. I mean, it's 41 years this year.
Yeah.
So, someone who was born, who's 41, 42, 43, 45 years old, 50 for God's sake, started going to the book fair as children on field trips. On a lot of people don't know that on the Friday of book fair, which this year falls on the 22nd, entrance is free, and we concentrate that day on books for children, young, teenagers and high school students. So they come on field trip from schools all over Miami-Dade County. 8,000 children come on field trip. Wow. During the pandemic, of course, we couldn't do that. We put everything online, and 10,000 children watched online, from our with our partnership with Dade County Public Schools, which is a partnership that precedes my time there and that is very special to us. So, then we have Saturday and Sunday all day long. Again, authors in every room, whether it's romance or, mysteries, and I like to emphasize the entertainment aspect of books and reading a lot, because I think everyone knows you could learn a lot, right? You could, I saw a book. I think I see Abraham Lincoln back there. So, yes, you could pick up a book and learn your American history, learn your world history, on those kind of like serious, heavy topics. But you can also just fall into a book of romance or get the thrills, or, one of the fun things that is happening this year that I'm really excited about is the return of the full lineup of the Rock Bottom Remainders. Do you know who the Rock Bottom Remainders are?
Don't. I have to confess. I'm sorry.
I know. So a lot of people don't know because they haven't been gotten together a really long time. The Rock Bottom Remainders are a band made up of authors.
Oh, wow.
And one of those authors is Stephen King, which a lot of people don't realize. Another one of those authors is our very own Dave Barry.
Wow.
And some really big bestsellers like Scott Turow, Amy Tan, Roy Blanc Jr. I could go on because they are going to be on the stage this year.
That is so cool.
There's 12 of them. All of those writers that are, American classics, contemporary classics, I guess we could say, and they're all going to be on stage playing instruments and singing, and they're like a classic rock tribute band, and so they're coming back. There were more.
That is so neat.
There were.
By the way, ask them if they need a bongo player. I'm happy to join in.
You know what? I have an idea for you. Take the bus and the train downtown on Saturday afternoon. They actually will go they'll be doing a talk about their life, their books, their writing, on why they became this sort of, very well known, not so much now, but, some years back, rock band of authors. And they're going to be on the stage at 2:30 p.m. to talk about it. And then they're going to be on our music stage, which we have a music stage that runs all 3 days of the street fair with bands from, and DJs from 10 o'clock in the morning till 7 p.m. And on the Saturday at 7 p.m. will be the Rock Bottom Remainders. And if you're worried about the crowds, I mean, we're in the, you can take your car or a bus to any train station, right? Metro rail station, Miami-Dade County, and for a couple of dollars or free, depending on your particular status, you can take a train that will take the most from any part of Miami-Dade County about 20 minutes to Government Station. Government Station, you jump on the Metro mover to either
you want to get to Inner Loop.
Thank you.
It'll save them time, trust me.
Well, or you can see all of Miami.
If you want a tour, you're absolutely right.
I've enjoyed getting lost on the Metro Mover, I have to say, over the years. So that's one of, I like getting lost a little bit sometimes because you never know what you're going to
And you can't get totally lost because no matter what you do, it will take you there.
Yes, it will. And also, there's great signage. Yeah. And, there's the voiceover that tells you what's coming, where they're going. There's great security. No. I don't think people, I think that's another myth, that downtown is not safe or that the trains are not safe. Hardly. Absolutely.
Perfectly safe.
Perfectly safe. As I mentioned, I took buses and trains from the age of 13 through the age of 38 until my second child was born. And it became a little more difficult to meet all of my meetings schedule, for my job, to like take both kids to preschool and then go make it to my office on time and then pick, but I still, when, sometimes I just do still take the bus from my house in Miami Beach to Miami, to the college, in downtown. And when I travel, I always take public transport wherever I am, because it's like, oh, are you kidding me? It's time for me. It's time to read, which is, very hard to find,
Sure.
Especially this time of year, as much as I do read for work. This time of year is like long hours. So, it's easy. It's really easy. We also are partnering with Freebie, to have free rides.
And those are those on-demand rides, almost like an Uber or Lyft, but it's free.
But it's free, and there's an app you could.
So once you get to downtown, you pull up the app, it picks you up where you are, and it takes you to the fair.
Yeah. So
that's great.
Even if you have like phobia of heights or something and don't want to get on the metro mover or the Freebie downtown will take you straight to the fair. If you're living points north, which I could not be happier, when the train, between the bright line between,
Aventura
and West Palm and, all those areas. I mean, I could not be happier when that happened, because it's like luxury travel.
Yeah.
And where the Bright Line station is in downtown Miami, which is on 6th Street, you can, maybe walk 5 blocks and you're in the middle of the fair.
It's an easy walk. There's also a Metro Mover station, or you could pick up Freebie, right? So you have all these options. And by the way, not only Bright Line, but now you also have Tri-Rail coming into downtown. So so many ways to get to the book fair and back, right? Bright Line, Tri-Rail, Metro Mover, Freebie. And then, of course, there's the City of Miami Trolley, right?
Yes.
Which is an extensive system, and that's also fare free. So you name it, there are options. And if you insist on driving, there's plenty of parking too.
That's what I was going to say. I love the trolley to get to Coral Gables from downtown. It's very easy, and it, again, gives me reading time and saves me having to, sometimes I work, as I said, emails and things. But I would also encourage people to check out their bus routes.
Yes, I'm sorry, Miami-Dade Transit buses, of course. Yes.
I think sometimes there's a misconception that the buses take a really long time to get to where you are and all of that. But, we're like in 2024. We have apps now. Okay, let me not take you back to when I was in college in like 1994, where
the big paper.
Where it was like, okay, well, we're just gonna sit here and hope, because we're not sure. But now with the app, you know exactly when your bus is gonna get there. You could time it, to leave your house, 5 minutes before, what have you.
All the buses are new. They're clean. They're safe.
They're air conditioned.
They're air conditioned. Wi-Fi on. So if you're reading, off of a device, you have it.
Yeah.
And particularly for the weekend events, no traffic, so you're not going to get stuck in that.
No, and they do have fast lane buses, depending on where you're coming from. So I was happy to come out and talk to you because of my affinity for public transport. And of course, I want to see it get better. Who doesn't? I want to see traffic alleviated. Who doesn't? I do have to take my car places, often. I do drive a hybrid, right? I've always driven old cars because, again, I didn't want to continue to put, extra harmful chemicals or whatever into the atmosphere. And I think that's one thing that maybe we don't think about as much when we're taking the bus, that it's not just alleviating that kind of stressful traffic time for us, that gives us that extra free time to text our friends or read a book or, listen to music or whatever. Now we have ear pods, okay? Back in the day, we had to we had to go on the bus with our boom boxes. Do you remember that?
It was a party. Yeah,
it was it often was.
I think you were saying it's environmentally sustainable.
It's environmentally
so much better.
Better in many ways.
And I know that's a focus of the book fair as well, right? You have a lot of authors and a lot of talks kind of centered around sustainability and environmentalism.
Yeah, we have a little bit of everything,
Yeah.
and that's always been our goal. We don't want to get to the point where we're like, this is all, it's all like very serious and we, things to worry about, but we do, right? So we do have a couple of authors who are talking about climate and what's happening around the world. We do have a lot of authors on technology, whether it's AI and the rise of AI and how it's being used and why it's being used. We have a wonderful Dr. Joy Bulamwani, who is from Harvard. She's the head of the Harvard Media Lab, who's talking about AI and what it means for us as humans, which I think, when we think about transportation, already there's driverless taxis, driverless technology in San Francisco. And, I was just listening to a podcast, I don't know, maybe a few weeks back about driverless trucks for industry. And
it's already here.
It's already here. And so I'm really looking forward to the day when, we can align better with what we need as humans in terms of how transportation is built, what the infrastructure is like, how it grows to be able to, to kind of support all of the different ways that we need to get around, right?
Yeah. So listen, we're running out of time, but I did want to add one last thing. So in addition to my role at the CITT, I'm also the chair of the New World Center Committee, which is a committee of the Greater Miami Chamber of Commerce. Yeah. Really proud to serve in that role. And I'm also proud to announce that we have an annual award called the Alva Chapman Award after the former publisher of the Miami Herald. And we recognize, key people and institutions who have done amazing things for downtown. And I'm proud to say that this year we are awarding the Organization Award to the Miami International Book Fair. So well deserved. You should have gotten it years ago. So, but I'm happy that we didn't give it to you years ago so that I can be the one to give it to you.
Yes, I'm so excited. It makes me really proud to be part of an organization that has created so much space for people in downtown Miami. And I'm just grateful and I think it's wonderful to be to have an organization like ours acknowledged in the public square in that way. Because the more people know about what we do and how we do it and why we do it and the college's role in doing it, I think the more engagement and the happier our community is going to be.
Yeah, it's a beloved institution, an event, and really, as you said earlier, we need opportunities to bring people together. Yes. And at a time of such divisiveness. So everyone's going to come. We're going to have a great time. We're going to dance. Yes. I'm going to play the bongos, and we're all going to read lots of books.
Yes, or at least dance.
And by the way, please let the audience know where they can visit your website for more information on the event.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's miamibookfair.com and Miami Book Fair on all the social networks from, TikTok, X, Facebook, Instagram, all of them. And you can also pick up the fair guide if you're like a paper reader. We have them at all the Miami-Dade College campuses, at Books and Books locations. You could go on our website and download it as a PDF if you like, looking through pages like I do, or you can just go through the schedule, put in, whatever your interests are, or an author who is coming, or who you might want to see. There's like a whole list of them. We have about 600 authors in English, Spanish, Creole, and music again, and children's activities, and lots of food.
Lots of food.
I forgot to say that we're partnered with
Talk about things that bring Miamians together.
I know. Lots of delicious food. So
that's wonderful. So listen, be there. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's cheap. It's easy to get to. And, go shoulder to shoulder with your neighbors and our community at large. Let's come together and celebrate literature and books and knowledge and each other. Absolutely. Well said. We'll end it there. Folks, thanks for joining us here on Mobility Matters. You can catch us here every other Thursday from 9 to 10 a.m. We have a slate of wonderful guests in the near future, so please stay tuned. And if you'd like to learn more about us at the CITT, visit our website, miamidade.gov/CITT. And finally, I'd be remiss if I didn't thank our wonderful partners here at Miami's community newspapers for continuing to partner with us in producing and hosting this program, and for hosting us in this lovely studio, which happens to have all these wonderful books.